waiting for it. So welcome for Center for Social Dialogue. Center for Social Dialogue is an open platform, created as an open platform where we can discuss any idea, irrespective of a particular ideological bias. And you can discuss right from your personal experiences to the questions of constitution, history, political science, political theories, health, and any issue that concerns the society. So we consider most of our ideas as around polity, Indian polity. Indian polity, we mean that the తెలుగులో చెప్పాలంటే ఒక నాగరిక ఒక అడ్వాన్స్డ్ హ్యూమన్ బీయింగ్స్. So we can discuss anything which concerns the people in general and the polity. Already we have discussed legal issues, political issues, journalism, personal experiences, literature, art, and many other areas, spirituality. So there is nothing like this we can discuss and which we cannot discuss in this particular. ఎవరో ఒకరిని మైక్ మ్యూట్ చేసుకోండి, కొంత డిస్టర్బెన్స్ వస్తుంది, మ్యూట్ చేసుకుంటే మంచిది.
I'm planning out. Sir, మీరు అట్నుండి మ్యూట్ వీడియో కూడా ఆఫ్ చేయండి సార్, బికాజ్
మీరు మ్యూట్ చేసుకుంటే చాలు. ఓకే. So, Center for Social Dialogue puts only one restriction on the people. That is, our talk should not be provocative. Our talk should not create further disputes in the society. It must help resolve the disputes of the society. The other thing what we say is we have a Constitution of India where we talk about something called as Article 19, which gives certain freedoms for freedom of speech and expression. So the limitations of freedom of expression and the scope of freedom of expression as contained in Article 19 of the Constitution of India is one such criteria which we always insist upon. The third thing is there are several laws imposing certain restrictions on free speech, that your speech shall not result in provocation of a section of people. So these are all the things which we have to keep in mind before we express ourselves. Today it is the 100th section of the Center for Social Dialogue. It's a time where we have to celebrate, because 100 sessions without any interruption, involving various ideas, various perspectives, political, social, economic, psychological, art, and every form of the human ideas are exchanged here for the past 99 sessions. Actually, in the month of this April, on 10th, I found an Indian Express news item where I came to know that the NALSAR students have responded to the what's the predicament of the contract workers working in their premises, because the contract workers are denied many facilities, and the law is very slow in coming to their rescue. So the growing need of the society is, it is just not criticizing the state or just remaining invoking only legal institutions. So there must be some kind of voluntarism from our side. There must be some kind of individual action. There is society, collective action, state, institutions of the state are one aspect of the society, but individual and the civil society is another important aspect of any society. So in view of that, many of the intellectuals all over the world have found that, especially from the beginning of the 20th century, with the heavy growth of modern institutions like parliaments, legislatures, courts, executive offices, the individual is struggling hard to find his place. And in that process, a kind of important activity in the human life, that is voluntarism. That voluntarism has taken a big shock, a big setback in the 20th century. So in such circumstances, the news item has suddenly caught my mind. The NALSAR students have come forward voluntarily to help the contract and outsource workers in their premises, and they have decided to provide through their contributions a breakfast and lunch to them. What a wonderful idea which NALSA students have evolved. So I thought of introducing their activity to all of us, so that as a part of the civil society, let us know what is happening there in NALSA. That's why I invited the NALSA friends, but I think two or three members have joined now. Ajay Kranti, and then Anand. Uh, yes, and any more? You are all invited, Mr. Ajay. In fact, I have very little information about your activity except the news item. So now this is the time I throw open to you to participate and share the experiences of you and what led you to this kind of voluntary activity and what in fact is happening in Nalsar. So welcome Ajay Kranti and others from Nalsar. Please, now the session is open for you. You can now start expressing yourselves. We are here to listen to you. We want to give a full hearing to you. So please welcome once again. Ajay Kranti, you can start your presentation.
Yeah. Sir, am I audible?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. Just give me a second. I hope I'm visible too.
Yeah, yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Sir, first of all, I would like to begin by apologizing to you. We haven't gotten back to you sooner. It's our exam season, and a lot of us have been occupied with exams, assignments, and all. And also, like for a few of us who are in the fifth year, these are the last few days on campus that we have. So, we've been very occupied with different activities. Yeah. Having said that, thank you so much for inviting us to this session. We would really we'd be honored to share whatever the work we've done and whatever is going on our campus. Just to give a brief idea about our college, it's an autonomous university, a national law university, although it is created by an act of the state legislature. Now, by physical distance, we are very far away from the mainstream city. We are some 20-25 kilometers away from the city. So generally, people don't know what is going on within the campus, and also we don't have a lot of idea as to what happens in the city. So many activities, you see HCU doing something, IFLU doing something, Usmania doing something, and also centers like yours outside the university space is also doing something, but we have very little idea. And also, even if we come to know about something through social media, it'll be very difficult for us to attend due time. So like you've seen, how much our university ensures that we are in that routine, so that we don't think about what is going on around us. Like it's so sad that it's a law university, but the ethic of discipline here is such that you need to be in a particular mode of working. You need to be in a particular mode of doing, so that you don't really pay attention to what is happening around us. In fact, that is why so many of us, especially I can talk about people in my batch, now I'm in the fifth year, we have only found out that there are so many violations going on against our contract workers only in my fifth year. Like we all knew that they were underpaid grossly, but none of us ever actually paid attention to the statutes or the notifications, the circulars that apply to our university. And when we actually did now, we found out that university is violating all possible labor laws that are applicable to us. So it was a very, painful realization to us, because it's a law university and most of our education is justice education here. We have a lot of courses on human rights, justice, all that. And when we came to know, when we actually found this out for ourselves through research, and to speaking to people around us, our workers, it was very disorienting for us. What is happening inside the classroom and what is happening outside the classroom, completely different. It's completely opposite. So, that's how, at least to me, this entire thing has begun. Of course, there were people before me, my seniors. Anand is one of them, and we have another senior, Rizwan, joining us. He'll be joining us in a few minutes. They did raise these issues, and they did bring out many violations that have been happening. But I think the administration then was different. The way they dealt with them was different, and the administration now is different. We have a new administration. The way they dealt with us is different. And, as people change in the administration, we also had to change our strategies and all that. I'll talk more on that a little later. But, I thought I should just set the context for what this scheme is and in what context it comes in. So, Sir mentioned volunteerism. I think it's a great idea, but I would like to slightly differ from the idea of volunteerism, at least in our context. So, from whatever I've understood so far, this meal scheme that we've started, it was, something that we thought we could do. Like there is so much that is going on. There are so many violations that are there. And it's not in our power to change that. We are doing our best, whatever we could. But, we thought if there is something that we can actually do, then let's do that first. And that's how we started this meal scheme. We have around 800 plus students who have contributed a monthly contribution. And we've been running this successfully. There were earlier 2 versions of this scheme. The recent one that you've seen in the paper is from October 2022. And for all these months, it's been quite successful. So, the purpose for us was to offer some comfort, some succor to the people whose lives are very precarious here. And because we couldn't do much about that precarity, we thought, let's do something that is in our hands. So that's how we've been running this. I'm sure like Rizwan and Anand would talk more on this because it's them who came up with this idea of having a meal scheme in 2019. I can only talk about the latest version that we've been doing since October 2022. And another reason is we've seen that we have these student collectives. We have Savitribai Study Circle, we have NALSAR Minorities Forum, we have NALSAR Queer Collective, where we engage in conversations about justice, of course, justice to our people, our communities. And we thought, why are we not extending this discourse to the contract workers on campus who are very much our people, who are very much part of our community? And I think from whatever the conversations I've had with Anand, that's how, at least it worked for Anand. And that's how this society called Workers' Welfare Society came into existence. Again, these are all my interpretation of whatever happened. I mean, before I go ahead, talk about what is happening currently, I would prefer Anand and Rizwan talk about their vision of how Workers' Welfare Society started and how they instituted this meal scheme. Yeah, I would just be quiet for a while.
Anand, we have to call Anand, or is he joining?
Yeah, he's here.
Sir.
Rizwan and Anand are here.
Mr.
So
Anand?
I suggest Rizwan Bhaiya go first because he's my senior. He started the subsidized meal first.
Wonderful. Mr. Rizwan, you are welcome.
Hello, good morning, everybody. Am I audible?
You are audible.
Yes. So I think this was started in 2020. The plan behind it was I missed the first 15 minutes of this meeting. I don't know what all has been covered. I'll just run over what our mentality was at that point of time. So when we got into the new year in 4th year, at that point of time, workers were still having food in our mess. Thing was that they were having the leftover food. We used to observe that because after the lunch break ends, when everybody has is done with their meals, at that point of time, the workers used to be allowed to have the leftovers. I mean, without any payment or whatsoever, but they used to be allowed to have the leftovers. Uh, we found that there is a lack of dignity in that kind of having of meal, because they are working on a shift within our campus where no other means of food is available for affordable means of food is available for these workers. It is not feasible for them to get the food cooked at home and get it here. So there needs to be, we were thinking that there needs to be some sort of affordable meal available for them during their shift hours. And this should be on par with what everybody else is eating. It should not be a separate arrangement where some different kind of food items are being prepared based on their economic standards or whatever. So this was the them having food in the mess was the right thing to be done at that point of time, but having leftovers was not a right option. Even if we suggested the uh, contractor to cook a little extra food for them, it was not feasible at that point of time. He was like, we cook for how many students we get paid for, and whatever is left over, we are willing to give to them. They eat it, our workers eat it, everybody eat it. It's not an issue. But sometimes when the, especially on the days when the food is good, it doesn't remain. There is no leftover when the food is good. Only, only on the off days, the remnants are more. So what we thought is that by was first, without any scheme or anything, what we suggested is that workers need to be given the opportunity to eat along with us. It should not be key. They should wait till our eating process is completed, and then they should. There are very limited workers who are working on a minimum wage at that point of time. The scheme was meant only for minimum wage workers at the start, who were earning 200 to 300 rupees per day, less than minimum wage standards. So there were about 28 to 30 workers at that point of time who were within this bracket. So we suggested, by there are very few, let them eat along with us. It is not feasible to make them wait till we are done. That was not permitted, because they had their objections saying that workers eat a lot of food. They put a lot in their plate. So giving them free food is not feasible for us as contractors. So then we thought this is not going to work. So we need to develop a scheme. We took suggestions from a few professors at that point of time, Mr. Vageshan, um, Mr. Vageshan, Vasanti, Inka, Manohar sir. We took inputs from a few professors, and they were like, the main point which was brought forth was that workers should fight for their own rights. It is not our place. It is not your fight to fight. Workers should be striving for their own rights. You can only create a platform for that. You cannot jump beyond that and step into their shoes, especially when you are not part of them. You'll be there for 5 years and then you'll be gone. They have to pave way for their survival for at least 30 more years. So you will be there, you will be gone. The next generation might follow your ways, might not follow your ways. They might be interested, they might not be interested. So you need to ensure that they are able to, you need to pave a platform for them to strive for their rights. So at that point of time, we were thinking about creating facilitating some awareness programs for them to create their own union, which wouldn't happen on campus because it was highly in front of the campus authorities. It was impossible for that to take place. So we would have to do that in Shamirpet, in the village. Then due to some issues at that point of time, that didn't materialize. The plan was to have some awareness programs in order to facilitate them to start their own union, but that didn't materialize at that point of time. So we thought ki first let's start with the small issue of them getting their food in a dignified manner. Then we can maybe progress towards that direction where they can form their own union. Then while coming up with the scheme, so generally the meals are, they used to take 50 rupees or something for lunch at that point of time, from regular people who were not part of the students. If someone else wanted to eat, they used to take 50 rupees or something for lunch. And so based on what we were paying for lunch, we had made a division for breakfast and lunch. We arranged breakfast and lunch at that point of time. We kept breakfast at 5 rupees and lunch at 10 rupees. Matlab, we negotiated a price with the contractor saying, bhai, you reduce 5 rupees and you reduce 10 rupees from the original price you are giving it to us. We contribute the middle amount and the workers themselves pay 5 rupees and 10 rupees. 5 rupees for breakfast, 10 rupees for lunch. Because the main motive behind this 5 rupees, 10 rupees was that the dignity should not get lost. You are paying for your food, you will be entitled to whatever you wish to receive from it. Once you make that 5 rupees payment, you can demand your extra idlis, your extra vadas, your extra bondas. If you're not paying that, it will be at the mercy of the contractor. He'll be like, ah, itna hi dete bhai, jao. For that purpose, we had kept a minimum payment, which is within their affordable range. We had communicated with them, we had communicated with their contractor, who is a different person. He, he will be obviously facilitating us, helping us in this matter, because it is not an expenditure for him, it is an expenditure for some other contractor. So that contract, the mess contractor reduced a little bit of amount. We through student contributions funded the middle portion of the amount, and the workers were themselves paying 5 rupees and 10 rupees per meal. So 5 rupees for breakfast, 10 rupees for lunch. That's how the scheme started. And unfortunately, pandemic came over within 6 months, 7 months of that, and that was that at that point of time. And yeah, that was the beginning of the journey. And we had a mindset which is being taken forward by our juniors, which is very fortunate. And yeah, that is the beginning. That is what it is. Thank you for inviting me here.
Nice of you. Nice of you, Rijwan. Kranti, would you like to continue, or would you like to introduce someone else?
I wanted to ask if Anand had anything to share at this point. Anand?
Yeah. So basically, after the pandemic, the situation was very different. Like a lot of workers are hopeless. A lot of workers are affected by the pandemic. The livelihood got affected. A lot of issues they were facing. So after the pandemic, only few of us were invited to the campus. So we were aware. Like I am from Telangana, so I know Telugu. Like we were aware about all the issues about workers on campus. For me, it's like I share few of their experiences, not many, but I share a few of their experiences. Like I myself belong to a nomadic tribe of Telangana, so that in a way that helped me to understand their experiences better from an better, and it's more about not only about food but about the dignity on campus. Like a lot of things that I see around campus, like a lot of contractors shouting at them or like abusing them, or like if you look at the basic things that they receive while they work, or the respect that the student give is not what they deserve. Like what, so it's a basic it's a thing that we are in a law school we are taught a lot of things in a classroom, but we fail to apply it just outside the classroom. I observed it in many cases. Like there are a lot of courses that we are being taught, but we a lot of time that we fail to look at the surroundings just outside our classroom. So that's how I some things helped me to like after the pandemic, I thought that we should revive this meal scheme and make sure there is no make sure there is no like I decided to give it free because it's like the pandemic had affected them and it led to their economic distress. After hearing to them, like after hearing to their experiences and all, I reached out to Rizwan Bhaiya to use the society name and take it forward and make it an free meal scheme rather than a subsidized meal scheme. Because see, when you look at the mess, the functioning of the mess also, it's not it's very like I was in the mess committee then. I worked for the mess committee. I know how mess committee how the mess functions, how the contract thing functions, and what are the benefits that the contractor has, and where can we take the advantage of. So that's how we decided. See, all the students are paying 40K as in their mess deposit. So that's how I thought it's very feasible that even the student count on NALSAR is increasing. The batch count has increased to 140, uh, and we also had IPM batch. So that's how I discussed this with one of my friends Sundar, and we decided to make it a free meal scheme rather than a subsidized meal scheme because it and we also extended it to all the three meals rather than only for lunch and dinner. We wanted to make so people also come for night shifts. So we wanted them to have some freedom and something to like they feel some basically they should feel like a family on campus to that that they should that they are have that they should have a place to eat as well. So that's how we extended to 3 meals, and we also decided to give them free meals because it also helps them economically. They don't need to get money or like pay to contractor. Just that every one of us pays and take care of them. That's how we decided. Yeah, thank you.
Anyone else? Kranti? Rijwan?
Sir, I like to add something which
Welcome.
we had planned at that point of time. So what we had in mind was that this is the responsibility of the university. If not anybody else, if not the contractor, if not the mess contractor, if not the workers contractor, it is the responsibility of the university being the primary employer to provide them with their necessities, food, minimum wage. We had even put in RTIs regarding minimum wage, which were not answered adequately. And then the VC called us and told us that minimum wage is not being paid. I know very well. There is nothing I can do about it. That kind of things. And recently they have taken a good step in that direction, where they have, I think they have convinced the VC through their coercive methods that minimum wage will be disbursed from now on. So that was one thing. And we were trying to push for the university to sanction this meal scheme rather than the students contributing towards it. We are already paying our fee. Students are paying lakhs in their fees per year. And it is the responsibility of the principal employer to ensure that all his employees are being given their due minimum wage along with 2 square meal, whatever is necessary. While they are working, they should be getting their food, and whatever method, whatever manner you wish to give that, that is up to you. We can protest that later, but first it is your responsibility to give that. We were trying to push it through the university. When they were not listening, we initiated this scheme so that at least we can show that it is very feasible for you to do. It doesn't cost much. The students were contributing. We had kept a cap of rupees 100 per month for contribution from each student, that no student can contribute more than 100 per month, to show that it is, to show how feasible it is for the university to undertake. It is not that students cannot contribute more than that amount. They do not have the there are students at that university who can alone look after that entire scheme. That, ha bhai, I'll put it from my pocket, let them eat. There, people are there with economic capacity who can do that, but that was not the point of the project. Point of the project was there are a majority of the students wish that the workers at campus should be given these rights, should be given their food, should be given the minimum wage, and for that, all of them are willing to contribute. And the workers themselves are willing to pay a minimum amount, even if that is necessary for their food, 5 rupees, 10 rupees, not an issue. Because availability of the food is the main question at that point of time. They were having leftovers. It was not available. It was just, हाँ भाई बच गया ना खा लो. It was कुत्ते की जिंदगी. So that was what was a challenge, and we were trying to push the university to take over this scheme and contribute what the students are contributing instead of the students contributing it themselves. Because it is, once the students pay you the fee and you are the principal employer, it is your responsibility to take that over. It was a very minimal amount. I don't remember the exact amount, but it was so minimal that it is peanuts for the university. They just throw that at researchers for 1 month just for the sake of it, who do not do any research whatsoever. In labor, even in the labor department, they'll throw it. But what they are doing for their labor is a different question. So that was the plan, which I suddenly clicked my mind. It's been a while. So I hope the university moves in that direction. I hope we can push them again in that direction to take over this scheme. It is not something which the students need to do as charity. When the students do it, it is charity. When university, when their principal employer takes it over, it is their right. They have a right against their principal employer. They do not have any rights over these students. So that is the point. Students were just facilitating, creating a platform for both them and the university to see how feasible it is and how easy it is to be done, and what the interest of the students is, that they want these rights to be accrued to these workers, and we cannot keep abstaining from these rights. Volker. That was the point. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you. Anything else, Kranti?
I mean, it was so good to hear Rizwan and Anand, especially at this point of time. I really needed to hear, and I would like to give updates on what happened with the meal scheme. So initially, like Rizwan said, it was a subsidized one, and the idea was always for the university to take it over. And then after the pandemic, as the circumstances changed, and also based on what workers wanted, Anand and Sundar, they made sure that it was a free one. So we continued with the same last semester. I mean, it was September, August, September. So basically, our last academic year, we continued with the same. So there was one issue with respect to the scheme that was already in operation, which was assumed by Anand and Sundar. The said, there's no uniform amount from student contributions. One student is contributing 100, one is contributing 500. So it was extremely difficult for the accounts office to do the accounting, how much to deduct from each student. And then, we had to say, okay, you do the deductions pro rata basis. And like what Rizwan and others did, we also put a cap of 200 this time. And we said, 200 is the maximum amount. And we are going to calculate the bill, consumption bill for all the workers. And by the way, it's not 20, 30 workers now, it's 110 workers who are eating in mess. And we are able to provide 2 times free meals. It's the housekeeping staff, gardening staff, and the security staff. When it comes to security staff, we are able to provide 3 meals as well. So, monthly bill comes to around 1,40,000, 1,50,000. And then we have student contributions, 200 each by almost 800, 810 students. So this bill will be calculated pro rata basis. That is how currently the scheme is running. And there was also this problem of contractor billing maximum consumption for each worker. Sometimes workers may eat only 20 days a month, 10 days a month, but the next contractor would calculate for 30 days, all the meals. So then we had to come up with this card scheme. If you could see, where they could just take the signature, like whenever they're having breakfast, lunch or dinner. This is very similar to what other staff members, what faculty members do. It's just that they have their registers in which they take signatures. And here, what we have is a card, and this card will be with workers themselves, because we did not want the contractor to have control over this card. And at the end of each month, we collect back these cards and we calculate the bill for all the one-time workers and submit it to the accounts office. So far, we haven't had any problem. It ran smoothly. Now, after we brought up issues, particularly about violations of labor laws, which I'm going to present in a while, now the university and the executive council, they have decided to take over the scheme. So from whatever we know, from the next month, if not the next month, from June, the scheme will be run by the university. It is not going to be in the hands of students anymore. This is the promise that was made to us. We are yet to see how this is going to materialize. So this is an update I wanted to give about the mean scheme. And another point that I've been like seriously thinking about throughout this year is, how students, a bunch of students became saviors of workers in the workers' welfare society. There were a lot of criticism, especially from those groups that contributed to the formation of the workers' welfare society, Savitribai Study Circle and NMF in particular. There was criticism because, we completely forgot that this is not our struggle. This is someone else's struggle that we are fighting. Somehow, in the fight, we made it our own. We made it our own cause. And, we were acting as if this is about us. That's how it became. I'll be very honest with you. And at various points, I personally had to take a step back and think, this is not going the way it is supposed to be going. My idea, at least, and a couple of our friends, members from the WWS, was to research and document that clearly. I'm going to show the research note also that we prepared, where we just wanted to show what are all the violations that the university is committing, the labor law violations. So like Rizwan said, no minimum wages. Not paying minimum wages, although it's a big deal, it's just, a tiny part of the problem. There are so many violations that the university is committing, and we just wanted to document that. We documented that. Then Akhil and his friends, they held a legal awareness session. This also happened in the last vacation, where we just wanted to share this information with them. Okay, this is what is going on. This is the wage you are entitled to, and you're getting half of that wage. All that we wanted to tell them, we wanted to also tell them that they are entitled to weekly off and paid leave and all that. We told them that, and the next step that we thought would be workers going themselves to the administration and asking for their rights. But that's not what we've seen. I don't know if it's because of the trust relationship that, we've been able to build over a time or a period of time, or is it because workers have been so terrorized under the last administration that they simply did not want to speak up. So, they said, okay, if you guys could go ahead and, show this to your administration and talk to them, and if you could get us something, it would be great. I think that is where, we made our first mistake, because we appointed ourselves as the representatives of the workers. And while we were very clearly maintaining that this is what workers want. I mean, there is, a lot of power asymmetry between the administration and the workers, but also between workers and students. I think that is something we completely missed in this. And I want to just, highlight a very great development, and that is NALSAR, all our contract workers will now have a union. We are going to register it on Tuesday. We took the help of two unions, IFTU, Indian Federation of Trade Unions, and HMS in the Majdoor Sabha. IFTU has a union in Osmania University, and HMS has a union in HCU. So we had these people come to our campus, they've spoken to our workers, they told them how workers are fighting everywhere. And this is not something that is just happening in NALSAR, it's happening everywhere. It's a shame that it's happening in a law university like NALSAR, but it's happening everywhere. And now, there's so much difference in the way workers articulate their demands. compared to the way they used to do before we had this union people come to our campus and do it. Now, Sudarshan Rao sir, I'm not sure how many of you know. I think he's the head of the HMS in Mazdoor Sabha. He's also someone who was suggested by our Sandeep Pandit sir only when Sandeep sir came here to take a course, development studies. And in fact, a lot of this consciousness raising happened in Sandeep sir's classes. You know, in two of his classes, we invited workers to come sit with us. And we had this class where there was a journalist and then Sandeep sir and, you know, whoever wanted to speak from the student body, we would all have these conversations with workers, and Sandeep sir also like played protest songs, all that. It was brilliant, like, you know, the way we were able to facilitate these conversations. And also, you know, some of my juniors like Akhil is here, is one of the most committed and devoted persons to this cause, and like they've done a lot of work in terms of making it visible. You know, while we are taking this to the administration, while we are having conversations with the administration, it was also important for us to build a solidarity base within the student body. I don't know how the student body was during you know, Rizwan's time before pandemic, but right now it's completely indifferent and apathetic. Like, people just don't show up, people just don't care. And you know, we had this big enemy of indifference, apathy before us, and we had to do something about it. So, you know, whatever we could do, whatever was there in our control, in our powers, we did that. We made noise. We did that poster making event, this poster sticking event, you know, like different things. Also, we also filed a lot of RTIs, and we never got any reply to any of these RTIs. So all this has happened, and finally, you know, we all came to this conclusion, the same conclusion that our seniors came to like 3-4 years ago. Like, you know, this is not going to work. This is not sustainable, whatever we are doing. Our energy should go into empowering workers, you know, creating networks for them so that they become resourced, so that they don't become dependent on students. They can, you know, fight for themselves on their own. And, you know, now, after all these conversations, they're all very, very excited to be a part of this union. And one of our gardening staff members, Narsingh Rao, he will be the general secretary of this union, and he's going to the labor office this Tuesday to get the union registered. And Sudarshan Rao sir, he has been very supportive, and he's seen through this process. And I mean, I really hope, you know, it happens, it becomes possible in NALSAR, because it must, like, that's the only way I see this going forward. That's the only way I see something happening. And also, another reason for us to involve unions in this was we've seen how much we have tried, how much we have negotiated with the administration, and simply it didn't work. It didn't work. Like, you know, we made everything public. We've clearly shown them that you're not following minimum wages, you're not following the Contract Labor Act, you're not following the PF Act, you're not following the ESI Act. Everything we've shown them clearly, and you know, they're so nonchalant, and they just say, okay, oh, we are not doing minimum wage, okay, let's view them from now on. Like, how can you be so, you know, so cool and calm when there is like a gross violation that someone is pointing out? So we understood that this is how it is going to be, and the only way to go forward is to have a union and workers themselves being empowered enough to fight their own battles. So this is where we are currently. I just want to quickly take you all through like 2 documents, like just 1 page of each document. But before that, if anyone wants to speak, like, you know, that would be great, because I will need 2-3 minutes to open this document. Rizwan, Anand, Akhil, or Raghu sir, anyone?
Yeah, first of all, let me congratulate you for the wonderful work you are doing. At the same time, as a man in the age of 63 years, and having spent a lot of my time in trade union activity and many other activities, I always caution the people to take these steps in a very intelligent manner, because things may take a sudden turn at some point of time where you may not visualize the things. Because in our young days also, we have gone with idealism, took serious setbacks at several points of time, but still we could go ahead, make different turns, different shapes in our activity. So that one advice. And the second thing is, congratulations, ultimately the scheme is being taken over by the university. That's a great achievement of you, first of all. For this one reason, I have to congratulate you. And then the thing is, workers union getting involved in the matter, especially HMS, which has a credentials of not taking the people to any particular ideological way. That's one great thing, because HMS has that credentials for more than 70 years. It has always maintained a balance of approach toward the issues, and it is more exposed to the consequences of any such drastic action. Because the 1974 railway strike where HMS was the predominant force, and when after the strike, about 2.5 lakh employees of the railways were straight away terminated from service. Then, with George Fernandez became the minister in the Janata government, and with the intervention of the ministry, somehow some a good number of people could come back again. 2.45, 2 lakhs, 45,000 people could come back. 5,000 could never come back, because they said you are leaders, you are responsible for your own action. So this is how something happened. And after that, railways could not seriously participate in any workers' strike. That's a very, very big setback to the entire trade union movement. So we were all the witnesses for all these development. So whenever youngsters, I come into contact with youngsters on all these things, I try to put a break of caution in their journeys. And people sometimes say that I'm orthodox, or I'm not sufficiently what's called as revolutionary. It's not the thing. For every kind of thing, there are certain things which we need to take care of. Now, if you are ready with your documentation, you can now go ahead. Please.
Yes, sir. Just sharing my screen. So could you give me permission to share this?
Yeah, I make you co-host for some time.
Yeah.
I made you now.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope this is visible.
Yes.
Yeah, so I just wanted to take you all through this summary table that we've prepared. If you could see here, we have 4 categories of workers: housekeeping, junior and senior categories, gardening, mess, security, category 1, which is civil guard. The other category is retired ex-servicemen, basically. So here, if you see minimum wages, university or its contractors are not paying to any of them. Weekly off, no. None of them have weekly off. Paid leaves, no. National and religious holidays, no. Overtime payment as per the Minimum Wages Act, which is twice the normal rate. That is also not there. EPF and ESI, PF and ESI. For housekeeping, only 8 people out of 43 staff members have PF, there's no ESI. And gardening also, there is PF, there's no ESI. And for mess, there's no PF, no ESI. And for security also, there is PF, but no ESI. They say that their ESI amount is being deducted and the employer contribution is also being remitted to the bank account, but we don't really know because they've never received their ESI card. Payment on 1st of every month. Even if it's not 1st, by 5th or by 7th, that is also not there. In fact, security guards, they haven't received their last month's payment yet. It's already, another month in a day or two. Provision of safety equipment, this also, there's no safety equipment given to housekeeping, to gardening, to mess. Procedure for termination, nothing. They can be just asked to leave. Grievance redressal, if they have any complaints, there's nowhere they can go. And university is mandated to constitute a grievance redressal committee, but they haven't, and they don't bother to. Pay slips. They don't give pay slips. And also, these people don't have ID cards. So tomorrow, if we go to the court to file a case, there's no way we can prove that these people have actually worked on NALSAR camp, because there is nothing to show on record that these people were here. some of them have given their 15 and 20 years of life to NALSAR. Yet, there's no identity. And compensation for workplace accidents. There's nothing. We have seen at least 2 accidents in the past 1.5 years, and none of them got any compensation, or even the wages for the leave they had to take during that period of recovery. They didn't get any compensation. Maternity benefit, again, was not there. So recently, we had a case of our housekeeping staff member. She wanted to take a break of 6 months, and there was no paid leave or anything being given to her. So we all collected money. We said, we want to cover her 6 months wages. This is the wage she gets each month, and we want to cover 6 months wages. Our professors, our students contributed, and in just a couple of hours, we've been able to raise the money and give it to her. And now she's on a break. And also, one more thing I would just like to highlight. These are the wages given to workers on this date. Housekeeping gets 250 rupees per day, which is 6,500 per month. 6,500. And the senior category gets 7,800. This is so atrociously low. You look at the minimum wages, and it is half of the minimum wage. Mess also, the workers who work in mess, especially the housekeeping staff and serving boys, they get only 6,500. Gardening, 10,400, again below minimum wages. They're supposed to get 13,000. Security, again below minimum wages, 10,816 rupees. So these are the current wages paid to contract labor in NALSAR, and the most exploited category of workers are housekeeping staff, most of whom are from Dalit community, and all of them, except I think one person, all of them are women. We have 43 people, 41, 42 people are women. And these are the wages that have been going on for many years. There has been no increase in the past 5-6 years for them. Now, the problem that we encountered here is university says that they are not a principal employer. Now, this one has been saying constantly that they are a principal employer, they owe responsibility. And the university denies that. University says we are not a principal employer. And therefore, we don't owe any obligation towards these workers. Now, why do they say this? Because they say that CLRA, Contract Labor Regulation and Abolition Act, does not apply to our university. Now, I don't know from where they got this point, but this is what they've been arguing, including our very progressive labor law professor. I mean, I won't name her. He also argues that CLRA doesn't apply to us. Minimum Wages Act does not apply to us. And they say that this is a private contract entered into between the university and these contracting agencies, in which all these responsibilities of complying with labor laws have been delegated to them. And it's their responsibility to ensure. If they don't do it, you go after them, not after the university. This is what university has been arguing. Now, clearly, we've done our research. We've also approached the people who are experts in labor law, and we can clearly prove that this is a bullshit argument. And yet university is going ahead with it. And there's nothing that we can do on a legal front to oppose whatever they're saying. And also, one more thing, university is not even registered under CLRA as a principal employer. I think Sandeep Pandit sir has joined just now. So this is something that we came to know very recently. So whatever the university has been doing all these years is illegal. If you don't have a certificate of registration under CLRA as a principal employer, you cannot employ contract workers. Now, another excuse that they give is these workers are not contract workers; they're casual workers. Now, I mean, it's a very common sensical thing to say that you appoint casual workers for things that are temporary in nature. If there is a job which is in permanent nature, then you cannot appoint casual workers. But that is what university has been doing. These are daily wage laborers, these are casual laborers. They keep changing every day. That is what university says. On paper, this is what they claim, but that is not true. We know for 15, 20 years, same people have been working. How can you say that these are daily wage laborers? They are not. They're very much contract workers, and the entire system in place is a contract labor system. But they claim that it is not. So, this is a big legal battle that we have in front of us. Now, still, due to the pressure put by our members as well as workers and our alumni, university has agreed that they are going to follow minimum wages from the next tender. So there is this GO 11, which specifically talks about minimum wages that is to be given to contract workers, which is the least expensive one to the university. There are multiple GOs of minimum wages applying to the same category of workers. University says we are going to go with the one that is least expensive. Our argument is you have so shamelessly violated all these laws all these years, and now when we have pointed out you don't have decency to give them, decent wage. They want to now go with the bare minimum. So, to express our condemnation and also to express our solidarity with contract workers of NALSAR, we have written this statement. I don't know if you can all see this. If I may, I would like to just read out this statement. It's just a one-page one. I'm not going to read out the entire thing. If that's okay, Raghu Kumar sir, if we have time.
Welcome.
Yeah. We, the Dalit, Adivasi, Muslim and queer students of NALSAR extend our unconditional support to all the contract workers in the university and stand in complete solidarity with their years of struggle for better wages. Some of these workers have given a decade or two of their life serving NALSAR, yet they still work under feudal conditions. Most contract workers in NALSAR have been paid less than the statutory minimum wage for several years. All of them are denied weekly off, paid leave, national and religious holidays, overtime payments, safety equipment, workplace accident compensation, maternity benefits, and PF and ESI. After months of discussions between the administration and students, the constitution of 2 committees, and a host of events organized by the Workers' Welfare Society calling attention to administrative authority towards workers, the university eventually woke up to the realization that we are still governed by the rule of law and not the rule of NALSAR. It conceded to the bare minimum by ensuring compliance with the Minimum Wages Act. In order to do that, it made a decision to follow the minimum wages notified under GO 11, by which the university will incur the least expenditure while complying with the minimum wages law. However, the wages paid under GO 11 are nowhere comparable to the wages paid in other universities. To illustrate it further, sanitation workers of NALSAR will receive 10,898 per month, while the sanitation workers of Uthmania receive 13,000, and IP and other central universities receive 18,486. And as per the first Telangana Pay Revision Commission, the need-based minimum wage should be 16,500, while the 11th Andhra Pradesh Pay Revision Commission estimates the same to be 20,000. Similarly, the 7th Central Pay Commission decided the minimum wage to be 18,000. By any measure or comparison, the wages our university has decided to pay to the contract workers, guided solely by financial concerns without any regard for labor justice, are completely unacceptable to us. Therefore, we demand that the Executive Council of NALSAR adopt GO 60 as the norm fixing wages for all contract workers in NALSAR, just as it adopted Telangana government's pay scales for its regular non-teaching workers. To clarify, we don't seek parity of remuneration between contract workers and regular workers. We only ask for parity in the law applicable to both categories of workers. That is to say, if the Telangana government's regular employee pay scales are applicable to regular non-teaching workers of NALSAR, then the same government's contract labor pay scales should be applicable to contract workers of NALSAR. So according to this GO 60, they should be getting 15,600. In view of the myriad injustices committed against the contract workers on campus, we see no alternative to justice in this case, and that justice at the very least must include the adoption of GO 60 by the university to ensure a decent wage of 15,600 per month to all contract workers and sincere compliance with all labor laws concerning contract or outsourcing workers. Eventually, the issue of wages for a set of workers who have been wronged for years is not merely a question of legal compliance. It is a broader question of constitutional values as well as the identity and ethos of the university itself, whose vision pledges allegiance to justice with a particular focus on social justice to the marginalized communities. What better tribute could be there towards Dr. B.R. Ambedkar than ensuring dignity for those at the bottom of the university's social ladder? Therefore, we demand the Executive Council reaffirm the values that are taught in our classes, highlighted in our events, and tie us together as professionals governed by the Constitution. As Chief Justice of India, Chandrachud said, the true meaning of dignity as a facet of the right to life under Article 21 will only be achieved through acknowledgement of the labor provided by the helping staff. In firm solidarity, Savitribai Intersectional Study Circles, NALSAR Minorities Forum, NALSAR Queer Collective. Yeah, that's all I had to share.
So Thank you, Kranti. Now, Sandeep Pandey joined. Can we have?
Yeah.
Sir, please.
Yeah, thank you, Raghu Kumarji. I am actually traveling from Lucknow to Azamgarh for a meeting of farmers protesting against land acquisition.
Okay.
Well, I agree with your observation that what the students at NALSAR are doing is amazing, because I have been teaching at IITs, IIMs, and law universities also, but I have never seen students with such deep commitment. I mean, I was myself part of the movement at IIT Kanpur when I started teaching, when a workers cooperative was formed as an alternative to the contractor system. But the kind of commitment, but there the movement was led by, the initiative was taken by mostly professors, and Vijaya Ramchandran was there, the daughter of former President R. Venkatraman, and others were there, but students were playing only a supportive role. But here in NALSAR, what is amazing is that the main body, which is supporting this movement is the students. It is not even the workers who have taken the initiative. So this kind of commitment that I have seen in NALSAR workers is amazing. And as you have said, this sense of volunteerism where they are contributing 200 rupees each of them per month, so that the workers can be fed in the mess, is a very I should say charitable gesture on their part. But it is not just charity. They have also demonstrated that they will risk their careers if necessary to fight for the rights of the workers. And my congratulations to Ajay Kranti and his entire team, Reet Balmiki and Shreyam Sharma. I don't remember all the names, Hari Priya, but a number of them are involved. And I consider it my privilege that I have been able to make friends these workers, and I have told them that I am with them. I will support their movement. Last time I was teaching at National Law University in Delhi. It was COVID times, online. I was the only faculty member who signed the petition in support of the workers. Here, fortunately, they have more professors, who are supporting their cause. And I'm also glad that the Vice Chancellor presently is very tolerant of, their activities. They are able to put up placards and other things on campus. The placards are not removed. The Vice Chancellor and the other university authorities give a patient hearing to the students. So I hope that, with a sympathetic administration and a determined student body, which will ensure that workers' right will be granted to them, this movement will be successful. And I convey my best wishes to them. I hope the next time I'm there on campus, the workers will be getting their minimum wages. Thank you so much. And thank you, Advocate Raghu Kumarji, for organizing this.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, and thank the entire NALSAR students who are doing a wonderful job. Shall we initiate discussion among houses, because the participants are waiting for a discussion. With a few interventions, I just hand over the issue to the further discussion. First, I would like to say one thing to Sandeep Pandey and also Kranti and his friends. See, after this liberalization, globalization, and these new economic policies have come into implementation, it is first the academicians and the judiciary and the labor departments which welcome them. First impact I have seen in the academics, because as early as in 2001, the Nagarjuna University organized one seminar on liberalized economy and its impact on labor laws. And one of the participants is a lecturer teaching labor law in Padal Ramareddy College, a private college in Hyderabad. He was my roommate for the entire seminar sessions. He said that he was teaching labor law in 2001, 2000, and he was talking about the Minimum Wages Act, Payment of Wages Act, and so many other things, recoveries. But he says that he himself was getting his pay once in 3 months or 4 months. He was virtually crying before me. He was saying that with what kind of moral authority I had to teach all this to my students. Where is the ethical and moral segment in my life when I myself am not getting my salary and huge cuts are made on each and everything, where payment of wages, minimum wages act are all violated day in and day out. I am teaching labor law to my students. So this is a fact which I have seen as early as in 2001. And in 94, 95, 96, we have conducted a small survey within the, the Hyderabad surroundings, the industrial towns. There was a consistent, consistency in the judgments of the Supreme Court during 1980s and 1990s that if a worker works for 240 days, his services must be regularized. Immediately after seeing series of judgments, the industrial managements have learned, come with a new technique of allowing the workers only to work for 239 days, so that they will never complete 240 days and they never will be within the scheme of the Supreme Court judgments. And in the labor departments, in AP state itself, we have seen as early as in 1998-99 that several circulars were issued by the state government advising its labor enforcement department not to visit industries, not to conduct any inspections on the industries. We have practically seen as early as 1998, 2000. So these are all the things which we have been observing for more than 2 to 3 decades. A very sad state of affairs is there. In fact, it is the academia which is more convinced about the liberalization policies than the very society. Society was struggling hard. Trade unions were struggling hard, but it was the academic section which was more convinced about the LPG program. So this is a thing which always, because we have seen a lot of us, we were under a thick struggle at that time while working in the Department of Telecommunications as a trade union leader. Now I open the session for debate. We have N. Mukteshwar Rao Garu, retired IAS officer, who has been very well known among the persons for intervention in favor of the people. So Mukteshwar Rao Garu. Mukteshwar Rao.
Yeah.
Please.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. Naskaram. My best wishes to all our NALSAR young boys, Mr. Rijwan, Mr. Anand, Mr. Kranti, and others. For 5-10 minutes, I was not able to continue in the meeting because of some urgent call coming from a friend. But for that, I was following the proceedings all through. It was really amazing to hear the young boys speaking so nicely about the plight of workers working on the campus of the NALSAR. NALSAR as a institution imparting instruction on law should be practicing the law in its letter and spirit. We expect, as any common man expects this, but somehow this was more in breach than in observance. Coming to the presentation, what impressed me most is these young boys were initially speaking about the dignity of the labor working in the campus. Dignity, in the recent past, we speak more on the integrity of the nation, not on the dignity of the individuals. Unless the individuals are carry a dignity and they stand up for themselves and they stand like decent citizens of this country, the integrity of the nation cannot be dreamt of. Therefore, in that sense, when the young boys were questioning about the dignity, the penury and the poverty with which the workers are working on the campus, really made me feel sorry for the sorry state of affairs happening in the campus. Coming to the actual question of the minimum wages, the principal employer is the university. The principal employer, while calling for the tenders, even for competitive bidding of the manpower supply, they need to really remember the most important and significant aspect of the minimum wages and other allied working conditions. They cannot throw these points to the winds and call for this thing. If they have done that and they have called for a competitive bidding for supply of just human beings with some kind of human forms, that is absolutely objectionable. Probably Raghu Garu and others can help in looking into that particular notification calling for the bidding. Sandeep Pandey, yeah, okay. Yeah. Now, if we can examine those papers, probably that will really surface the truth. While I was working in a particular institution, it has as many as these kind of workers employed in a large scale. There are as many as 10,000 people working. They have a similar kind of problem, not exactly of the dignity related issues like fighting for food and all, but it has problems like non-remittance of certain important statutory requirement and all. And I personally intervened, as Pandeyji suggested. We need to have a compassionate administration which will have a broad understanding of the whole scenario, and they must travel with the students as far as their rational or important pertinent questions are concerned. They must travel, they must understand, they must go deep into that and really do something on that. We need not go for some kind of prestige kind of this thing, because they are all young boys. We need not ignore. After all, truth is truth. In Telugu, Vemana is a great poet who says, even if the torch is held by a small boy, the torch gives the same kind of lighting. Pinacheti duty pedaye velgada. Therefore, I really appreciate that particular aspect. And if we can look at the root of the calling for of the tenders and other conditions they are supposed to meet, particularly those who are successful in bidding, other conditions, if we can look at them, if we can find the missing links, probably we can do something on that. And Raghu Garu can take initiative as an expert in a labor law. Probably he can come forward and give us his valuable inputs into those documents. With that, probably we can proceed further. These young boys really need a lot of appreciation, support, and I wholeheartedly extend my support in their endeavors. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Dr. K. Pandurangaswamy Garu. Dr. K. Pandurangaswamy.
Sir, good morning, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, please.
Sir, good morning to all the people who are present in this panel discussion. Good morning, Raghu Garu, and my dear students. Really, It's a very good experiment, we can say very good movement that they led. Eventually, they made the university to accept the task of justice. I congratulate all the young people who are responded to human dignity. Say food is very important factor, very important thing. And eventually they responded to the inequality of giving food. Leftover, the poor people are workers are eating leftover. So they responded to human dignity. This kind of response is highly essential from the young generation, and the young people reacted and they made one union and they tried to initiate a kind of union. They narrated so many issues, so it's very good. Ultimately, they succeeded. I congratulate, and every youth should have this kind of mentality. And what I learned is even the university is meant for law is not away from this bourgeois system, class system. Anyway, I'm very happy to listen this experience, and I can narrate this kind of experience to other organizations and other people who are trying to work for this kind of people. I'm thankful to all the students of NALSAR University for their initiation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Vinodini? Dr. Y. Vinodini. Dr. Y. Vinodini, can you unmute yourself? Okay, Dr. Muralidhar. Yes. No. Dr.
Sir, good afternoon to all. Really, for me, it's like I'm picturizing the whole thing, how they have taken the pain, the student community have taken the pain. We teachers, probably for many reasons, we don't speak up. We don't speak up because we feel that if we talk, like in one instance, we were not paid salaries for 7 months in one institution where I work. And when one day I tried to pen down, because no salary, no food, no energy. So pen down, and I wanted to stay there. So what I did, what happened was, after some period of time, when this has come to know to the management, for all the faculty they paid and my salary was denied. So we feel insecure, probably, kind of feeling we live in that we may not get other job immediately. Say some dependents are there. And this is kind of thing which probably stop us. But the kind of initiative this young crew, Gen Z I call, have taken to such an extent, they have not thought of their, they're still studying in that. They took so much of risk, like no matter whatever it is, we are going to be with them. And at the grassroots level, they are trying to support. It's something, a milestone they have attained. And they know the law. First of all, they know the law. We were not aware of, because I'm basically from business management. So the systematic way and the kind of commitment and determination what they have within them, something highly appreciable. And kudos to the entire team for attaining such kind of a milestone. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Ram, would you like to say a few words? Ram Kishore.
I think I already made my statements in the chat box.
Yes.
So I see three things. One, from the student activism, it has actually transformed into student actionism. So I think that's one way of doing things. And two, they have guarded this particular thought of helping somebody within the limits. And they were exactly, I think, being from the background of law students, they are able to have the hunch of things, what exactly can go against them. That the care they took, and the strategically they try to preserve this particular movement for over 3 years now. I think that's really fabulous. And lastly, the management trying to own this and trying to and see through what next to this particular initiative. I think they have done their job, sir. They have done that. I think that's and I largely see this is one a very niche case that that requires. Thank you. I appreciate Kranti, Anand, Akhtar, and others. I think they have done a fabulous job.
Thank you, Ram. Dr. Muralidhar ji.
Sir, good afternoon, sir. Just I am outside, and I joined the meeting at the fag end, and I am unfortunate enough to miss the main content of the meeting. But the thing I learned from your discussion is that some voluntary work, lot of voluntary work has taken place, and I take this opportunity to congratulate all those law students for their wonderful activity. This makes me recollect the activity we did 3 decades back under National Literacy Mission. We enrolled good number of volunteers in the activity, and they did a wonderful job. And at that time, L.V. Subramaniam was our district collector, and he said, for this meeting, those who are highly educated participated very little. Those who are moderately educated, like 10th pass, 10th fail, intermediate students, they took participation in the literacy movement. And now I once again congratulate our NALSAR students for their voluntary activity. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Gar. Krishna Mohan, can you say a few words?
Yeah. Like others, I also joined the group of people congratulating you all for this good initiative. And it's all from a young generation coming up for a charity work like. It's moreover, we are also involving the other agencies. And my suggestion for you is whether you discussed with the agency people who have drawn them. Actually, they were drawn from an agency, all these outsourcing people. And did you discuss with them also for their charity or some concession like that? You should also involve them as a stakeholder.
Yeah, they have already said they have discussed with them. They could obtain some concession from the contractors of the outsourcing people, and also they refuse to even use the word charity because the charity, they felt that it's degrading the other side. So it's a great they talk.
That's our thing to discuss with them. There will be others who can contribute. The other thing is, as an extension of this initiative, for the children's education, they're all maybe very poor people, not well educated. So you can also guide them for their education, for their children's education, wherever they are, which class they are in, whether it's college education or school education. You can also guide them as a group, being students, and how they are faring well. Whether they are faring well or not, whether they are on the right lines. Nowadays, the children are not doing very good. Maybe girls are doing well compared to the boys in this age group. So you can also have that. It will go a long way. It's a quality education they need. Once they come up in life, there will be a lot of satisfaction for them as parents. So that element also you should look at. Just I am asking about the monitoring aspect. You can monitor, and you can also educate the parents how they should look after their children. So it will go a long way. Yeah, particularly the quality education. You can also guide them by just meeting the children also. Yeah, them as a group and you as a group. Yeah, you can also work on that. Yeah, just mere feeding will not be helpful for them in their life. Their children should come up well. That's my intention. You can also, if you have time to do all these things as students, you are also children, we can do that element also for them, which will go a long way. Education is always important. Yeah, you should guide them in their proper right attitudes, so that they will come in life. For them also, it is also useful for the society ultimately. Thank you. I will also again congratulate you all. Thank you very much for this initiative.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. Now, can I have the response of Dr. KVS? Dr. KVS. Dr. K.V. Satyanarayana Mutgal. Yes, sir. Can I have the response of Dr. KVS? You have to unmute yourself, sir. Dr. KVS. Okay. Prasanna Anjaneyulu. Prasanna Anjaneyulu garu. Would you like to say anything?
Sir, it is a good session, sir.
Sir.
And the sessions given are very nice.
Sir.
Very nice sessions they are getting. That is more important.
Sir.
These suggestions, what other people are giving to them are quite inspiring. And we should appreciate and welcome so many things like this. And I appreciate Dr. Ravikumar Garu to organize things like this, which are very, very useful for the society, because always the people, I can call senior citizens, are participating more.
Yes, sir.
So this is now youth should come up. They have their own voluntary kind of thoughts. And we all appreciate. Our job is to observe what they're doing and advise. And I feel we did it a lot. You did it. Thank you, sir. Thank you. And I congratulate all people who participated as well as who advised them also.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Now I would like to request NALSAR students to have the last word, closing words on the issue. All.
Kumar, chinna vishayamu. There is also an element of this sustainability. How long you want to work like this, and how you will move forward from this feeding to their ownership, and financially they should be well off. Slowly, what is that you are doing for that also? You should. It's part of sustainability. How long you will feed? Mere feeding will not be helpful. The other point I told you is their children's education. Even their education also important. How they are working for the university also. You should educate them. They should be with the university. It's not their job chart they are doing. Their role they are playing. You should also educate them on that as a parental group. They should also look at their children's well-being.
Thank you.
Health is another important of them.
Sure.
They are the things, connecting things. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Any NALSAR students can respond to all the suggestions and other things, so that we can move forward towards closing the session, because now we have already crossed by 3 minutes. We may continue for another 4 or 5 minutes. Any from NALSAR? Anand, would you like to say something? Closing remarks?
I think Akhil can give the closing remarks. He didn't get the
Akhil,
opportunity.
Rijwan, Akhil does not. Akhil is there. Yes, Kranti. Akhil is there. Kranti, Rijwan, all you can just put certain closing remarks, and we look forward to the best of our capacity, our capability to help you, and we also try to take the what's called as place it before larger audience, so that people will know what is happening within the campus and what is the work going on. Thank you very much, and once again, you can have your own closing words, all of you.
Rizwan, Anand, do you guys want to say anything? I don't think
Yeah, I would like to thank Center for inviting us, and it's a good session that like you guys have spoken from your experiences, and it really help us to how to take the center forward. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anything else? Anything more? Otherwise, we'll close the session.
Rizwan?
Rijwan? Rijwan? Would you like to say something?
To me, right now, the most important concern is about sustainability, like Krishna Mohan sir highlighted. I think that's the reason why we've decided that there has to be this transition from whatever we are doing to workers doing it for themselves. And I think what they actually needed was some kind of support and assurance that students will show up, faculty will show up when they actually decide to fight for themselves. Because from whatever I know, a couple of years before, our housekeeping staff did a strike, and then police was called on them. And none of us know, like we were told about this just a couple of months before. So if they can have that assurance, I'm sure they will take this into their hands, and they will fight for themselves. And that's how anyone should, I guess. If it's you who is starving, you should only eat. Someone else cannot eat for you. And I think that is the direction we are taking right now. And yeah, that's how I think we are going to be sustainable.
Nice.
That's all I have.
Nice. Thank you all. Thank you all, your entire team, Yuan, Akhtar, Kranti, Anand, and other friends who have joined. Probably I might have missed one or two names. And thank you very much, Sandeep Pandeyji, who has also joined for some time and participated in the discussion. Thank you all. Let this idealism, which is glowing in your minds, is not dampened by the experience of life, because hope is something that we have to sustain all through the life. And idealism is one thing which always works in action. But at the same time, the burning sense of idealism needs to be continued till the last breath. This is one thing I would like to say. And you must also understand that life is not a straight journey and safe journey always. It will have its own clings, its own tortuous journeys. All these things we have to take care of. And I think they come out of your experience in the life. It's not something like anybody can teach you, but your own life will teach all those things. So welcome. I thank you all for your wonderful contribution in the NALSAR in favor of the contractual and outsourced workers. And yes, I welcome you for this wonderful session. And today we'll close the session because now 12:38, and have your own what's called a good lunch, good evening sessions, if at all. And thank you very much. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you, Raghu Garu, for this 100th session. You have done it very well.
Thank
under
you.
Your leadership and under your guidance, you good.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
We need to celebrate this and
Thank you, Ravi Kumar.
Yes, 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 sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, Krishna Mohan.
Yeah, right. Thank you.